The novel Queenie by Candace Carty-Williams follows 26-year-old Queenie living in London. The novel follows many themes such as racism, sexual harassment, struggle, and love, but the greatest theme in the novel is domestic violence. Queenie grew up in a household that experienced domestic abuse on a daily basis. Her mother's boyfriend, Roy, mentally, physically, and emotionally abused Queenie and her mother. Readers are able to learn how the abuse Queenie experienced in her youth continues to impact her as an adult. Through the novel's interpretation of domestic violence, readers are able to take away 3 things about domestic violence. Domestic violence leaves victims with very little self-worth and damages their mental health. Domestic abuse causes victims to be in a constant state of panic. Readers are able to gain knowledge about the true impact of abuse on victims that follows them long after abuse and throughout their lives. Constant, horrible, physical, mental, and emotional abuse leaves its victims with very low confidence and greatly damages their mental health. In the novel, Queenie speaks about the impact the abuse she endured in her youth has destroyed her self-confidence. Maybe Cassandra is right. Maybe I am damaged goods. That's why all that stuff with Tom and Ted and all the others, I said, ignoring her compliment. And the king of it all, Roy. He made sure any self-esteem I had was crushed into nothing. Queenie explains the influence of the constant daily verbal abuse she lived through for so long. Constant critical mistreatment of a person eventually leads them to believe the insults they are being fed are true and causes them to see themselves in the same degrading way their abuser does. The significance of domestic abuse does not only affect how its victim sees themselves, but how they see the world. Those who have suffered domestic violence live constantly nervous about the world around them on a daily basis. This constant anxiety prevents those who have suffered from abuse from feeling safe in their everyday lives and limits themselves from living life to its fullest potential. Queenie describes the uneasiness she feels every day while being in public. Kashki, you know I don't like marches, I reminded her. I'm frightened of people, lots of people. I know that lots of people aren't going to do any harm, but I feel like I can't escape from them. It's too overwhelming. Carnival, I can't do. Big shopping centers, I can't do. Oxford Street at any time of the day, I can't do. That's why I can never go with you there, I explained to her. The trauma victims of domestic abuse are left with leaves them to believe that everyone around them wants to hurt them. The never-ending fear causes victims to avoid things they once loved because they cannot escape the impact of the abuse they once experienced, and are constantly missing out on life's wonders because they are afraid. Carty-Williams was able to deliver an extremely impactful message on the effects of domestic abuse on its victims throughout their lives and long after their abuse. The novel Queenie is able to educate those who might not have great knowledge on the impact of domestic violence, a very large part being that individuals a part of a violent relationship often are unable to speak up because they feel unsafe and not strong enough to go against their attacker, and end up staying in dangerous relationships for too long. Domestic shelters that house and support survivors of domestic abuse have determined that some reasons why victims are unable to speak up and ask for help are safety, protecting themselves and their children, judgment and blame because they do not believe the legal system will support them even if they do ask for help. Victims, as much as they want to ask for help, cannot overcome the obstacles of why they continue to suffer, and so they just continue to be a part of a dangerous and unhealthy situation. Domestic abuse was once considered something that people just didn't talk about. As more brave victims continue to seek help, it shines more light on the subject and gives others strength to ask for help. Recently, there has been a major development in helping those who cannot find strength to speak out against their abusers. Survivors, mainly celebrities, have joined in solidarity in the #MeToo movement and the Time's Up movement to help empower many to ask for help and continue to give optimism to many people who have or who continue to be harassed. Novels like Queenie continue to educate those who might not know the truth about how domestic violence affects a victim for the entirety of their life. As more people continue to read novels like this and gain more knowledge about the subject, it will inspire people to look out for people they care for and help those who might be suffering, and help those who are to inspire them to seek help, and give them hope and strength that one day they will go from brave victims to strong survivors.